tonight at 10 on Channel 2 News.
From ABC News, World News Sunday, with Barry Serafin in Washington. And reporting tonight from Moscow, here's Forrest Sawyer.
Good evening from Red Square. British Prime Minister John Major today completed a quick 9-hour visit, arriving armed with a message intended to spur the Soviets to action. There will be, he says, Western food and technical assistance to help them make it through a hard winter. But real economic aid requires drastic reforms. And he had some good news for the Baltic republics pushing for their independence. We have several reports from here. First, our Moscow bureau chief, Jim Laurie.
After meetings here with Baltic representatives, the British Prime Minister toasted them with champagne and welcomed Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia to the community of free nations.
We will be sponsoring their entry into the United Nations and will support their entry into other international organizations.
The Baltic announcement came after a day in which Major became the first Western leader since the coup to meet Mikhail Gorbachev and his new team, now all committed reformers. Gorbachev said today for the first time that he accepted the fact of Baltic independence. Every republic has the right of self-determination, he said, and I accept that. In meetings with Gorbachev and later with Boris Yeltsin, Major pushed American and British concerns about Soviet nuclear weapons. Both leaders assured Major they would remain under centralized control. It also became clear today that Yeltsin and Gorbachev were working closely together. Major appeared to treat them as equals. Gorbachev told Soviet television and CNN interviewers that he had no intention of resigning as president. That would be morally wrong, he said, as he reaffirmed that Yeltsin and he were now committed to cooperation.
No one now will be able to place a wedge between us. We have learned a bitter lesson and realize we have a heavy responsibility to work with each other.
Tomorrow, the Congress of People's Deputies, the Soviets' larger parliament, will hear from both Gorbachev and Yeltsin. They'll outline a new central government and ideas for a new framework for what's left of the old Soviet Union. Despite the rash of independence declarations in the last 2 weeks, there is a new realization here that without at least a loose confederation of some republics, all of them will face economic disaster. It's a point Gorbachev will be hammering home in the coming week. Jim Laurie, ABC News, Moscow.
This is Jim Hickey in Moscow. The drive for independence among the republics has a direct bearing on an already weak central economy. And this weekend, Soviet economic experts are warning it is on the verge of collapse. The Soviet Mint is reportedly printing banknotes at 4 times the rate of 4 years ago, and still can't keep up with the demand to pay workers' salaries. With so much paper floating around, the value of the ruble drops and things cost more. That means even higher inflation. Some economists expect it to go as high as 1,000% by the end of the year. They say that as the republics spin away from the Soviet Union and become independent, they must make economic agreements among themselves and with the central government to prevent total collapse.
If the republics, at least major republics, will not come to terms immediately, in the next few days probably, or few weeks, I think that the panic will develop.
The economists say that means people will hoard even more goods, withdraw even more money from the banks, destroying the economic system. Agreements among the republics alone won't be enough. The Soviet Union, say some experts, must have massive amounts of foreign aid, including millions of tons of food, if it is to survive. Jim Hickey, ABC News, Moscow.
President Gorbachev commented on his wife Raisa's health today, telling interviewers she did suffer an unspecified attack during their captivity at the Crimean Sea. It was apparently triggered by news that they might be in danger. He says she is recuperating now, but full recovery will take some time. As the power continues to move away from the Soviet president, jockeying for control of the nation's second most important republic, the Ukraine, is heating up. What kind of ties will they have with Moscow? How much independence? All of this is an exercise they've been through before. Jim Bitterman reports from Kiev.
In the streets and drawing rooms of what used to be the Soviet Union, The debating these days never stops. And here in the Ukraine, watching them argue over freedom and nationalism, you can't avoid reflections of 3/4 of a century ago. Then, too, the empire was breaking up. Communists had driven out the Tsar, and when the tight reign of Moscow temporarily went slack, Ukrainian independence and democracy briefly flourished. People knew what they did not want as the old Tsarist statues came tumbling, but just as today, when it's Lenin who's taking the fall, what everyone does want is not clear. Still, arguing throws energy into the air, and these are exciting times. Not much different from those Olga Dragovskaya remembers from the days of Ukrainian independence after that first revolution.
We were singing Ukrainian songs and reading Ukrainian poems. This was the most flourishing time for our culture. It was a brilliant period for us.
She was a girl of 10, the daughter of an officer in the Tsar's army. And she remembers well the bloody way that brief moment of freedom ended when the Red Army crushed the last of its opponents and Moscow regained control over the empire.
When I heard the Declaration of Independence on TV the other night, I cried. I was so happy. But after thinking about it, and from my 80 years of experience, I'm sure Moscow will reassert its power and crush us.
There are plenty of people today who would confidently reject such an old woman's worries. Conditions are different, they say, and freedom in the Ukraine has taken root. But this is a place where the past is not easily forgotten, and where a process is not ending, but just getting started. Jim Bitterman, ABC News, Kiev, the Ukraine.
Life does go on through all the political turbulence. It's just that all this rapid change has people throughout the country more than a little worried about what's coming next. And nowhere more than in the newly emerging Baltic nations. Here's ABC's John Donvan.
The timetable says departure, 7:45 a.m., same as every Sunday. Except that this Sunday, as the train leaves precisely on time and the few passengers on board bring out breakfast, the political terrain they are moving through is suddenly all new. And to some who think about it, it is not without risks. 8 a.m., Ingus Indans, a Latvian and a Lutheran minister, is on his way to a parish outside Riga where he leads church services every Sunday. He says he is a former drug addict saved by religion and believes that prayer brought the Baltics to the brink of independence.
We were praying, and I know that much our friends from Canada, from America, from another countries are praying.
But Indans frets over his nation's spiritual future. In Russian, he says he hopes his society does not combine the worst of communism with the worst of capitalism. 9 a.m. The forest has been giving way to stretches of farmland. A lot of passengers have gone back to sleep. Not Helgi Raudpuu, an Estonian returning home from Poland, where she was visiting friends when the coup against Gorbachev failed. She wonders if people can adapt to the new terrain.
Soviet people got used to always being told what to do. They never thought for themselves. Now it's going to be changed. Every single soul has to think for himself.
11 a.m. At stops along the way, more passengers get on. The train is filling up. Gennady Mocharlin is one of hundreds of thousands of Russians living in the Baltics, and like many of them, he feels less at home there now that Soviet power is retreating.
All the Russian speakers in Estonia feel inferior, and I will leave here and settle somewhere in Russia.
But neither he nor anyone else we spoke with want the communists back in power. Yes, says Victor Balkan, an Estonian and the train's engineer, there will be difficulties. But as he brings his train into Tallinn's main station at 2:22, precisely on time, he uses a single Russian word to explain his optimism about the future. Svoboda, he says, freedom. John Donvan, ABC News, on the train from Riga to Tallinn.
We have one program note. Tomorrow night, an extraordinary ABC News town meeting. Peter Jennings will bring Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev and Russian President Boris Yeltsin together live to answer questions from people all across the United States. The town meeting will air right after Monday Night Football, when you would normally see Nightline. I'll be back later in the broadcast, but first, when we return, Barry Serafin in Washington will have the rest of the day's news.
Sunday. Brought to you by Theragran M multivitamins with minerals.
Theragran wants to know. Changed my life. Not much. With Theragran M multivitamins with minerals, fine-tuned for the way you live.
Everybody needs some money.
$12 for every mile over the limit.
Everybody needs some cash.
Hey, that's $300.
You can add fast, too.
To send someone money fast,
Hello, Joan?
Call 1-800-CALL-CASH. Only Western Union can get it to 16,000 locations in minutes. Nobody else even comes close.
French 101.
Something in my heart just told me.
Psych.
My sometime.
And biology, 903.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
About 1,000 gay activists marched near President Bush's seaside home in Kennebunkport, Maine today, demanding more government action to combat AIDS. The demonstrators, organized by the coalition known as ACT UP, accused the president of murderous, deliberate negligence. Mr. Bush was secluded at his estate out of sight of the protest. The reach of Pan American Airways, once synonymous with global air travel, has been shrinking in recent years. Last night at midnight, it shrank a little more. Pan Am will continue to operate between Miami and Central and South America, but it will no longer operate the air shuttle between New York and Boston and Washington. ABC's Steve Shepard was aboard Pan Am's last shuttle flight.
As the 8:30 shuttle readied to depart Washington last night, Pan Am employees couldn't hide their emotions.
We've watched with sadness as one part of the company after another was sold off and so forth.
Captain Lewis and his crew were participating in the end of an era.
Appreciate you flying with Pan American this evening. You're no doubt aware the Clipper 268 is the last Pan Am shuttle.
After years of losses, the once mighty Pan Am was giving up the last of its high-profile routes.
It was here at LaGuardia more than half a century ago that Pan Am pioneered transatlantic air service, making regularly scheduled flights from New York City to Lisbon, Portugal.
In the 30s, with its giant flying boats, Pan Am came to symbolize the adventure and romance of international air travel. But the 80s brought hard times, and this July, Pan Am sold the shuttle to Delta. The changeover took place at midnight. In a few hours, every remnant of the shuttle, from airport signs to ticket dispensers, changed hands. By morning, Delta was ready. Fortunately for them, many Pan Am employees are included in the changeover.
Yeah, I'll be here with the Delta uniform on, and I'll be happy about it.
Still, while Pan Am will survive in a smaller, healthier form, one of the pioneers of the industry is no longer an airline giant. Steve Shepard, ABC News.
When we return, the fight to save America's last military base in the Philippines.
Dear Folgers, I tried the Folgers switch on 3 of my fellow sisters. Instead of our usual ground coffee, I made Folgers Crystals. They all complimented me on the taste and aroma. "You do make wonderful fresh brewed coffee," was repeated more than once. They never realized it was Folgers Crystals.
People who thought they were drinking fresh brewed coffee were secretly switched to Folgers Crystals.
Tastily yours, Sister Mary Norbert Bauer.
This awful itch. Won't anything stop it fast?
Lanacane will. Lanacane shuts off the itch like a switch, fast. Only Lanacane cream works on contact with the itch nerves that cause every itch. Benadryl can't. Cordaid can't. Hydrocortisones can't. But Lanacane will. So for the fastest relief of every itch, get Lanacane.
Lanacane does shut off the itch.
Like a switch, fast.
Did you know that when Alexander Graham Bell was about to invent the telephone, he stopped work because he ran out of money? Today at AT&T, we understand how important money is to a small business. So we developed AT&T Pro Watts, our discount calling plan that gives you AT&T quality at extremely competitive prices. At AT&T, almost half our business comes from small business. When you succeed, we succeed.
It's the one, the only Red Lobster Fest.
It's the only time each year when we serve up lobster a dozen luscious ways. Our most delicious lobster at our most delicious prices. But only now during this special event. It's the one, the only Red Lobster Fest, starting at $8.99.
Red Lobster for the seafood lover in you.
Spend less time in line. Use call-ahead seating.
Monsoon rains today set loose a torrent of mud and debris from the Mount Pinatubo volcano that swept through villages in the Philippines. Thousands of people fled, one was killed, 7 others were missing. A wall of volcanic debris up to 20 feet high knocked out electric power in the area and left portions of the Clark Air Base covered in ankle-deep mud. That air base was abandoned by the United States after Mount Pinatubo erupted in June. That left the U.S. with its naval base at Subic Bay. But as Mark Litke reports, Americans may have to pull out there as well.
American military families evacuated during the eruption of Mount Pinatubo volcano have started returning to Subic Bay. The naval base now almost fully operational again, and the Americans seem confident they'll be around for some time to come.
Things are only going to get better now.
In fact, things could get worse. Though the new Philippine-American Bases Treaty gives the U.S. a 10-year lease on Subic Bay in exchange for $203 million a year, the treaty must be ratified by 2/3 of the Philippine Senate. And as of right now, the Senate is threatening to reject it. Some senators are opposed on nationalistic grounds, others because the compensation is too low.
My colleagues in the Senate describe this as crumbs, peanuts, clearly one-sided in favor of the U.S. government.
There's not much time left. The old bases treaty expires in 2 weeks. If the new treaty isn't approved, a U.S. pullout could begin almost immediately.
According to the Philippine Constitution, we have no choice but to depart.
The Aquino administration has lobbied furiously for the treaty. On television, the government has pitched the economic value of the agreement, while military officials on both sides have stressed the importance of regional security.
The events in the Soviet Union just proved that it's still a dangerous world out there, that things can happen at any time.
In the past week, Aquino has also been visited by U.S. Congressman Stephen Solars and called by President Bush. Both promised to help the Philippines with its enormous foreign debt if the treaty is ratified. But so far, the Philippine senators are not buying it. The official name of the new bases agreement is the Treaty of Friendship, Cooperation, and Security. But those aspects of the U.S.-Philippine relationship will be severely tested if, as threatened, the Senate rejects the treaty and U.S. forces begin to pull out. Mark Litke, ABC News, Manila.
When we come back, why Baltimore sports fans are saying thanks for the memories.
Extra Strength Maalox Plus, the strongest antacid there is, now comes in tablets. New Extra Strength Maalox Plus tablets. Maalox Strength is stronger than Tums. Maalox Strength is stronger than Rolaids.
My doctor told me it's the strongest. My stomach tells me it's fast.
Extra Strength Maalox Plus, now in minty tablets. Your doctor will tell you they're the strongest. Your stomach will tell you they're fast. Look for the coupons in Sunday's paper.
Shoot some slices, shoot some shreds, shoot some salad. Salad, salad, salad shooter.
Presto Salad Shooter Slicer Shredder. Point and shoot right where you want. Clean up easy, dishwasher safe, store anywhere.
Salad shooter.
Original, cordless, and professional salad shooter.
Good morning, America.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wake up, you sleepyhead.
Good morning to you and you and you.
Get up, get out of bed.
Every morning all across America, over 50 million people come to life with Delta faucets.
Live, love, laugh, and be happy.
Good morning, good morning.
Delta,
good
the way water is brought to life.
Oh my God.
Think about your daydreams and what you would do if you won 10 million. Out of the blue, imagine the bell rings, the winner is you. Publishers Clearinghouse, the house where dreams come true.
Why put up with glasses that just don't fit? LensCrafters has so many ways to fit your snug points. Like snug fit pads that flex to comfortably hug your nose. LensCrafters, better fit for greater comfort. in about an hour.
Monday, ABC News makes history. Peter Jennings brings Gorbachev and Yeltsin together live to answer America's questions. An extraordinary town meeting Monday.
Ray Gandolf is in New York tonight with a look at why Baltimore is saying goodbye to a venerable piece of sports history, along with today's sports highlights. Ray?
Thank you, Barry. The new National Football League season began today, and the big story was a crippling injury. Randall Cunningham of the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the premier quarterbacks in the league, was sacked in a game against Green Bay, suffered torn ligaments in his knee, and is possibly gone for the season. At the U.S. Open in New York City, Michael Stich, the Wimbledon champion, survived a challenge from Derek Rostagno, winning in a tiebreaker in the fourth set. Gabriela Sabatini, the number 3 seed in the women's draw in the near court here, prevailed in 2 tough sets against Jana Novotná, the 9th seed, 6-4, 7-6. Jennifer Capriati, the teenage terror, seeded 7th, shrugged off Joe Dury of Britain in straight sets, 6-1, 6-2. September Song, the days dwindle down to a precious few. Meaningful lyrics in Los Angeles, Atlanta, maybe a few other major league cities, including Baltimore. Not that the Orioles are going anywhere, but their stadium is into baseball oblivion at the end of this season. Jed Duval gives us something to remember in these precious dwindling days.
It has been a place to play ball for most of this century. It was only 37 years ago that they finished building this stadium.
I'm going to miss the stadium a lot, but for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of memories here.
Memorial Stadium was born in the early 50s, part of Baltimore's post-World War II renewal. The Birds, who had been the St. Louis Browns, came to town in April of '54 for a parade.
Well, it was a rainy day, like it rained off and on and everything, a big crowd of people, and it was just like New Year's in Baltimore City.
The nest for the new Orioles is one of baseball's finest stadiums. Memorial Stadium, spick and span for a jubilant crowd of nearly 50,000.
That crowd saw the Orioles beat the White Sox 3-1. The following year, the Orioles signed a young player from Arkansas who went on to become what many consider the finest third baseman anywhere, anytime, Brooks Robinson.
When you watch Brooks play, you watch the master. You know, it's just fabulous. I mean, the guy wasn't fast, but he just had those first 2 steps, and that's really all he needed. And, I mean, just everything was super.
In 1966, the Orioles were in the World Series.
Baltimore wins 1-0, sweeping the series in 4 straight over the Dodgers.
In the regular season in 1966, Frank Robinson hit a very long home run. It's the only fair ball to ever completely leave Memorial Stadium. The spot is marked with a flag that says simply, "Here."
Unitas rolls out and catches the New York defenders flat-footed.
This was, of course, a football stadium, too. The years of Colt championships and quarterback John Unitas were grand. And then disaster, the team owner taking the Colts out of town in moving vans that left without notice.
The Colts had to sneak out of town at night. It degrades a great tradition of the city in football.
But that's not what is foremost in memory here. Not now.
I have memories of spilling sodas all over other spectators. That's about it.
It's got a lot of history. Not that the new one won't, but this is just a great place to be.
It would be a great place for years to come. Old Memorial Stadium is not so old, not so worn. So why spend $100 million and more on a new place? Well, look at how nicely it fits into the modern glass and shapes of the new downtown. Look at it. A park so new it doesn't have a name. Fewer seats and more room. And just the right new look. Jed Duval, ABC News, Baltimore.
Where have you gone, Brooks Robinson? A city turns its lonely eyes to you. Woo-hoo-hoo. Barry?
Thank you, Ray. When we come back, Forrest Sawyer with a final word from Moscow.
Did you know that when Alexander Graham Bell was about to invent the telephone, he stopped work because he ran out of money? Today at AT&T, we understand how important money is to a small business. So we developed AT&T Pro Watts, our discount calling plan that gives you AT&T quality at extremely competitive prices. At AT&T, almost half our business comes from small business. When you succeed, we succeed.
I've got a 6 a.m. flight. I've got to get some Z's.
Nitol safely helps you fall asleep fast so you can get your Z's. Nitol or Maximum Strength Nitol.
Nitol will help you get your Z's.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course, you forgot your Kaopectate.
Advanced formula Kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the Kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
Monday, we'll have the latest news from the Soviet Union, also Labor Secretary Lynn Martin. Then on the set with Sylvester Stallone and Estelle Getty on Good Morning America, Monday.
Our final word tonight. During the fall of an empire, strange things happen. And some of the strangest things you could imagine have been happening this weekend at a Soviet air base at what was, until just last year, communist East Germany. It was part Soviet military exhibition, part American drag race, and pure capitalist hucksterism. ABC's Jerry King was there.
What is happening to the Soviet Air Force? It's called public relations, and these open houses are commonplace now. Eastern Germans are being courted by their former masters, now the kinder, gentler Soviet military.
Aber wir müssen verstehen.
We must understand each other, he says, friend to friend. Okay, but who understands Hell's Angels providing security on a Soviet base? One of the bikers sported a slogan on his T-shirt, "Don't mess with the U.S., it read. It's been a strange weekend. The Soviets allowed high-powered American cars and German drag racers on an airbase just north of Berlin. They even let their best tactical jet fighter take part in a quarter-mile drag race today called Kick the MiG, against a souped-up version of the Trabi, the car that symbolized all that was wrong in East Germany as it was run by the communists. From a standing start, the MiG, of course, was humiliated by the Trabi, and that, too, was good PR, which is what it was all about. According to the German promoter of the event, they were building bridges.
We are no politics, we are only small people, little guys, And I think that it's very important to have a very good bridge between the little German guys, the little American guys, and the little Russian guys.
But the deputy commander of Soviet forces in Germany, that's him in the civilian white shirt, quickly cut to the bottom line. We have a financial arrangement with the organizers, he says. We will earn money, and today we have to do these things. Jerry King, ABC News, Berlin.
And that is our report for this World News Sunday. For Barry Seraphin in Washington, I'm Forrest Sawyer. Good night from Moscow.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Sunday, Roger Moore's James Bond.
Hey, we have company. No problem. This is a company car.
Octopussy, Sunday at 8:30, 7:30 Central.
Thermal break windows are guareteed to save you money.
Energy-saving windows, no pain, easy opening windows.
Increase the comfort, value, and beauty of your home.
Secure, easy tilt cleaning windows.
Easy financing available. Call Spurlock and Carter today.
The labor force has been busting its butt all year long. But now there's relief. The Rhodes Labor Day 1/2 off sale. You'll save 1/2 on a wide selection of living rooms, bedrooms, dining rooms, mattress sets, accessories, and more. So hightail it to Rhodes Labor Day 1/2 off sale now, or you'll be leaving our incredible savings behind.
Monday only at Rhodes.
News, weather, and sports in the first 10 minutes. Tonight at 10 on Channel 2 News.
Dad, they're here. Honey, do me a favor.
Mom's eating like a horse.
A team of horses. Open the door. Get down.
There's my favorite grandson.
I'm your only grandson.
But maybe not for long, not for long.
Hi, Mom. Corky, go tell Gina they're here.
Okay, Dad. Come on in, come on in.